It's time for Takes on Takes, the weekly episode where we give our take on your take today on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast. We're the Draft Dudes. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. He's Kyle Krabs from Locked On Dolphins. And we are your NFL experts here with you daily to talk team building across the league on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast with the Draft Dudes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to issue a big thank you, shout out, and welcome to our everydayers. Those of you who never miss a single episode, we appreciate y'all being here very, very much. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year.
Happy Friday to you.
Happy Friday, yeah.
Ready to rock. Takes on takes. You're
Ready
the
to
take master. You've got the list. Ready to go wherever you're going to take us today.
All right. Well, we have a place we have to start, and it's from Sebastian. Sebastian with a two-parter. He said, please stop doing food takes and do more football takes. And then he offers this. Jaylen Waddle will outproduce Tyreek Hill, be wide receiver 1 of the Dolphins, and be a top 7 wide receiver statistically in 2025.
All right. So here's what I would say about I can accept you not wanting to hear food takes, but with one condition. And this is from Sebastian, you said?
Sebastian.
If you consume every other piece of content that we make throughout any given week and you still can't get enough, I will accept you asking to not do food takes. Joe, how much time do you talk into a microphone each week?
Oh, God. I do 19 shows a week, so I don't.
What percent of it is football?
Oh, God.
Everything except the food takes, right?
99.478%, I think, is the official math
Right.
on that.
So if you get that much of Joe and then you still want more football from Joe, I'll accept like you just don't want to hear food takes. It's fine. And I don't do 19 shows a week, but I know like you for her mentality on Substack, right? Like you do film study there too. Like you're breaking down film.
Yeah.
I break down film on Touchdown Miami. I do 10 shows a week. And obviously the written with A to Z, and I do videos for A to Z. I actually, now that I think about it, I might make 20 videos a week too.
A lot of talking. The takes are out. The football takes are out there.
There's lots of football takes available. Yeah.
So of course, what is it called? Gaslighting. Did I gaslight Sebastian when I quote tweeted him? Is that the appropriate phrasing?
I think so.
And the support was pretty big for food takes being a fundamental part of takes on takes. So they will continue. But any thoughts on Jaylen Waddle outproducing Tyreek Hill and being a top 7 receiver statistically in 2025?
I know Tyreek Hill had some alarming regression last year against man coverage versus Jaylen Waddle. So I think that would be the point where I would look if you're looking for the guy who's going to get you buckets when teams play you and try to get physical and then lock you up with man and then leverage guys over the top, and you want a guy that's going to win against tight man. I think that guy will be Jaylen Waddle this year. I don't know if they're going to continue to, because of what they're paying Tyreek Hill, force feed him the football to a certain degree. I don't know how that's going to work out. I would like Jaylen Waddle to get more targets than Tyreek Hill this year, though.
Do you think is it crazy to say? Let's assume Jonnu Smith is in Miami.
Yeah,
could you talk yourself into 3, like any one of those 3, Waddle, Smith, Hill, as the leading receiver?
Yeah. I think that's
because Smith was number 2 in target share last year.
Yeah, 111 targets last year.
Right.
Well, and that's kind of what they want, right? Is they want to have a guy they can lean on depending on how you're going to choose to play him on any given week.
Yeah.
But they didn't have enough in the run game to stay balanced and stress and really lean into some of that conflict they create with defenders to create as many voids and explosive plays last year.
Weekly huddle with the two-parter here, and they actually build off of each other. So the first part is it's all about the Browns and quarterbacks.
Okay.
The first part is Kenny Pickett starts the most games for the Cleveland Browns in 2025.
Does Kenny Pickett make the roster?
That feels like the answer to that would be no. I mean, to the take. I mean, they're not going to roster 4 quarterbacks, right?
Right.
So I don't think you're going to cut Dillon Gabriel's a 3rd-round pick. Shedeur Sanders is not getting cut. Joe Flacco is probably their best quarterback, and then Kenny Pickett exists. He might. Yeah, I think it's a good point. Probably not making his team.
I don't think Kenny makes the team. And like they did the Kenny move before they knew what they were going to get in the draft, and then they still drafted 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
So I'll fade that with Kenny.
All right, now it's been a while since we've done the thing, so we're going to do the thing for the second part of the Weekly Huddles take, which is over under 10.5 projected NFL backups would start for the Cleveland Browns. Before me, I have the list of the projected backup quarterback, courtesy of our lads.
Okay,
ready to do the thing?
Okay,
I'll get. Can you keep up with the amount, and I'll give you the names?
I got.
All right, you got your finger.
I need more than I can count on 2 hands.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Boy, hopefully that's enough. That's simple enough math for us to do here. Okay, Mitchell Trubisky.
I'd say I'm going to defer to you because I have no idea what to think of Mitch.
I don't think much of him
outside of his ecosystem that he was.
He does really good kneel downs at the end of blowouts. I'd probably rather have Joe Flacco than Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah. Okay.
Zach Wilson.
For a team that doesn't have a quarterback, I would rather have Zach Wilson and see if maybe I can find an answer than Joe Flacco at age 40.
I agree.
Does that count?
Yeah, I agree. That's different than Trubisky, who's 30-something years old and has been a nothing burger for the last 4 years.
Okay.
Josh Dobbs. I'd take Dobbs, wouldn't you?
I'd take Dobbs.
Okay. Tyrod Taylor, easy yes.
Yep, that's 3 in the East. Okay, great.
Cooper Rush.
Probably.
Yeah, I think that's a yes too. He's kind of good. So at times last year for Dallas.
Yeah.
Jake Browning. How do we even know? Is you getting Jake Browning?
No, I'm not buying the 1 month bump that Browning had.
All right. Well,
throwing to Jamar Chase and
that's a good point.
No.
Will Howard. I don't think we can do that, right?
No.
Davis Mills.
Not over Joe Flacco.
Daniel Jones.
I'd rather have Daniel Jones.
Same. Nick Mullins. No.
Joe Flacco.
Will Levis.
kind of the same logic with Zach Wilson. Like at least Will Levis might develop an answer if he gets rid of the glitchy reps.
All right, I'll take it. Upside. Give me the upside.
Yep, upside.
Jarrett Stidham.
Joe Flacco.
Gardner Minshew.
I don't know, man.
He's rough. I know. He's a Pro Bowler, you know.
Right,
Joe Flacco too, though. Super Bowl MVP as well. Was he? Wait, maybe
I would personally rather have Joe Flacco than Gardner Minshew.
I won't fight you on that. Aiden O'Connell.
Joe Flacco.
Taylor Heineke.
Joe Flacco.
Joe Milton. You kidding me?
Oh, Joe Milton, upside play.
Best game a quarterback played in all 2024 was Joe Milton.
Can we pass Joe Milton?
We have to be honest. Yeah, we can't do that. Here's one, Jameis Winston.
I'd rather have Jameis than Joe Flacco. They're both going to throw a bunch of picks.
You're right. One's a little bit better. Tanner McKee.
Joe Flacco.
I agree. Marcus Mariota.
I'd rather have Mariota.
Me too. Tyson Bagent.
Man, it's a free Bagent. Get him out of there. Give him a chance to compete. You put Tyson Bagent in this quarterback competition, you might win it in Cleveland with these young guys.
Let's take him. How about Hendon Hooker? Do we know enough?
No. And I also don't think we know enough about Tyson Bagent, so I wouldn't put him on the list.
All right, we can't do it. We have to be intellectually honest.
Yeah, intellectually honest.
Malik Willis?
I'd rather Malik Willis.
Okay, same. Sam Howell?
I'd rather Sam Howell.
Kirk Cousins?
Kirko for sure. We're at 11 now, by the way.
We're almost done, though. Andy Dalton?
Andy Dalton, I'd rather.
Yeah. Spencer Rattler? No.
No.
Kyle Trask? No.
No.
Jacoby Brissett?
I'd rather Jacoby Brissett than Joe Flacco at this stage.
Jimmy Garoppolo?
Joe Flacco.
Mac Jones? Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco.
At least I have leadership, right? Like,
Yep.
Drew Lock.
I don't know. Do I get that Giants upset win, Drew Lock, when they scored 40-something points at the end of the year? Do I get that Drew Lock?
I can't make that promise to you.
Then no.
What do we get to?
13.
The answer is the over.
Take the over.
All right, we got some fun stuff to get into, including some thoughts on some O-line greats. We'll do that here next. Be sure to stick with us. You ever check your bank account and wonder where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. And Monarch isn't just another budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place so you stop just managing your money and you start building wealth. Folks, the insights are surprising. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. Now I budget smarter and save more, and it's super convenient. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can just use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan for your long-term goals, and it's easy to collaborate. Managing money with your partner is more smooth than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. All right, shall we? Jared has a take about Jared Verse. I just connected the dots there. Jared Verse will be a top 5 pass rusher this season by finishing in the top 3 in sacks, pressure rate, and total pressures, putting himself in contention for Defensive Player of the Year after winning Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Spike the ball. If you get this many layers of statistics all correct, I see no reason why this can't be true. But you went so far, Jared, as to give, was it 3 separate metrics that he's going to rank in effectively the elite of the elite in? Because guys finish high in sacks that don't have that high of pressure rates, or guys have that high of pressure rate that don't necessarily finishing them on sacks, because you got to split them with Kobe Turner and a bunch of other guys, right? So if that comes true, and you dared to be so bold as to have that many specific qualifiers to it, I will applaud you, and I would encourage you to spike the ball.
Jared Verse had 77 pressures last year. That was 4th most in the NFL. Problem is, he only had 4.5 sacks, and his pressure to sack rate was 5.84%. Among the top 10 players at edge in total pressures. And when I say total pressures, I said he was number 4. He was number 4 among edge rushers. His sack to pressure conversion rate was 5.84%. Yaya Diaby was second worst at 6.92%. Chase Young at 8.33%. Everyone else that was in the top 10 of edge rushers and total pressures had a pressure to sack conversion rate of over 12%. So that's the big thing, right? Is you got to get more of your pressure turns into sacks.
So you're telling me that the opportunity is there, though?
Oh, for sure.
We just got to finish our plays.
Yeah, it's an aggressive take, but it's also not like crazy to me. But there is a lot of qualifiers where, like you're wrong if any one of those 4 things you put together don't happen.
Right.
I see the appeal. I'll stop short of saying this will happen, but I think some of it will. Generic football fan says this: food take in the spirit of food takes under attack. Cold sandwiches are trash. I don't care about the brand or place. Don't give me cold bread, meat, and cheese. Toast the sandwich twice if you have to, rather than serving it cold. Melted cheese, crisp bread, warm meat. Let's go. It made me feel bad for liking cold sandwiches after reading that.
I also like cold sandwiches.
It's like is it okay? I like hot subs. I like them both. Subs. Yeah.
And sometimes you get your food and you're really hungry, and then the sandwich is too hot. Now I got to sit here and hold this hot thing and wait.
Get soggy.
I got to wait to eat. That's no good.
And sometimes I'll say this, like when you have a cold sub, there's like a freshness about it that makes you feel better about eating than like a warm
vegetables with a crunch on it, right?
Yeah, you're just like kind of eating some slop sometimes when it's a warm sub. So I like them both, but I That's not what you're saying. You're saying cold sandwiches are trash.
I have to disagree with the take.
Yeah, I have to disagree as well. Joe at work says this. In light of Teron Armstead's retirement, here's the take. The 2013 NFL draft will go down as one of the greatest O-line classes of all time. Joe at work references Ryan Jensen, Larry Warford, Travis Frederick, Kyle Long, Eric Fisher, Teron Armstead, and potential Hall of Famers Lane Johnson and David Bakhtiari. Now, that's a lot of inventory to consider, right? Like, is this one of the greatest offensive line classes? I can tell you this. Of course, I put this together, so I had a chance to kind of look through some things. So I went to the 2013 NFL draft, and then I scrolled 5 more draft classes over just to kind of see what is this really good? And it is really good, but I would also say that it's pretty normal. It's pretty normal based on other draft classes that I looked at from the lens of the offensive line. I feel like you have this type of inventory most years. So there's some really good hits there. And what's also interesting about the 2013 NFL draft is you have some flops like Jonathan Cooper, Luke Jokel, as guys that we're not talking about as greats.
I'm looking at right now. I'm just looking at 2012. 2012's got some. Now it doesn't have some of the heavy hitters that 13 did with Armstead and Lane Johnson, but 12 had Reef, Mitchell Schwartz, Cordy Glenn, Kalichi Osemele. You throw Bobby Massey in there, and then on the interior, Kelvin Beachum was the last offensive lineman picked in the 2012 class, and he's still ticking. And then at guard for 2012, you had David DeCastro, Kevin Zeitler, Brandon Brooks.
It's loaded. That's 3 freaking ballers right there.
Let me see if there's any centers in that class as well in 12. 12 center class had nobody. Okay, cool. So I wonder what 11 had that has Stefan Wisniewski, Rodney Hudson, and Jason Kelsey as 3 of the top 4 centers drafted in 2011.
So I'm saying, you just kind of randomly go through it. It's like, this sounds really good, but I'm not sure it's crazy different than other classes.
2011 also had Mike Pouncey, Daniel Kilgore, who's still ticking, Mike Person. I won't trigger Eagles fans with Danny Watkins. Man, what a consolation that prize is. You drafted Danny Watkins at 23, but then got Jason Kelsey later in the same draft class.
Sometimes it happens,
Last, I just want to see tackles for 11, and then I'm going to let this go. Tyron Smith, Nate Solder, Anthony Costanzo, James Carpenter, Orlando Franklin.
Do the Dolphins have an example of this where you flopped on a pick early on a position but hit the guy later? Like the Bills have John McCargo as a first-round pick, but then got Kyle Williams on day 3. I think recently they get Kyrie Elam in the first round, but then they get Christian Benford on day 3. Is there what's the Dolphins version of that?
I'd have to really sit and think about it. Let me come back to you.
All right, we need to know the answer on that. All right, JT says this: Frank Ragnow was a top 3 center over the last 25 years. Kyle, you don't have to do the inventory. I've done it for you.
Thank you, because I'm sitting here stressing on this.
No, I got you. I went through and did the inventory of the best centers of the last 25 years. This is what I came up with. 2000, really the starting point. Olin Kreutz, Travis Frederick, Ryan Khalil, Alex Mack, Jeff Saturday, Nick Mangold, Marquise Pouncey, Jason Kelsey, and Frank Ragnow. Is he top 3?
No.
You said no quick. Kelsey's on top 3. Okay. Kreutz?
It was a stud. I mean, you also have Alex Mack was in there, you said?
Alex Mack.
I think I'd take Alex Mack over Frank Ragnow.
This is what I'll say about Frank Ragnow. I think he's probably, at his best, the most dominant center of this group, but he had some, transitions between guard and center. He's not going to have longevity compared to a lot of these guys. I mean, he's in the conversation. I'm not sure it's comfortable, though, that he's top 3.
I would agree.
Okay. All right. We got some fun stuff to get to here on the other side of it, including somebody wants to go with the under on Lions wins. We'll talk about that. And by 2030, is every position in the NFL going to have its own award? We'll talk about that here next. Be sure to stick with us. Steven not feeling the Lions this year. Steven says the Lions will hit the under on 10.5 wins.
10.5?
After losing both coordinators and Ragnow to retirement. Said 8 of Detroit's 9 road games come against teams that finished above 500 last year. Wasn't that the thing about the Lions? Aren't they like a super good road team? I thought there was even some like commentary that they're not even as good at home. Is that, am I missing?
I'll let you know here in a minute. Thank God you got me off that.
Their 3 losses that they had last year were at home: Tampa, Buffalo, and the playoff game to Washington. They were undefeated on the road last year.
The previous year, when they went 12-5, they lost at home in overtime to Seattle week 2. They lost home against Green Bay, and then the rest were road. They lost 6 games total in 2023, and 4 of them were on the road. So this was just last year. They lost all 3 of their games at home, but they went undefeated on the road last year.
So not normal. Yeah, they're okay. So their last year was somewhat of an outlier in terms of home. All right. Do we get 10 or fewer wins from Detroit?
Oh, let me pull up the schedule. We'll do the thing. At Green Bay week 1. Could be a loss.
Could be. Yeah.
Could be a loss. Chicago at home week 2.
Dub.
Probably a win. At Baltimore week 3.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Could be a loss. Home against Cleveland week 4.
I like it.
Okay. At Cincinnati week 5. Could be a loss.
Could be. I think they match up pretty well, though.
Week 6 is at Kansas City on Sunday Night Football. Could be a loss.
Could be a loss.
Week 7 is home Monday Night Football against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Could be a loss.
Could be a loss. So we're through 7 games. We only have 2 for sure wins and like 4 maybes.
Yeah, so I think you do some coin tosses, and we're probably 4-3,
Right.
3-4, 4-3, somewhere in that ballpark. 3 or 4 wins.
All right.
It's hard to believe they get hit with Murphy's Law and lose them all. Right.
Right.
Week 9, they have a bye. Week 8, week 9 is home against Minnesota.
I like that for them coming out of the bye.
Yep. So put them down for a win there. At Washington and at Philadelphia the next 2 weeks.
They get one of those, right? Revenge game, right?
Well, they get one of them.
Yeah.
Home against the Giants.
I like it.
Like it a lot. Thursday night football, Thanksgiving, short week, home against the Packers.
Tough game, but I like it at home.
Thursday the following week, home against Dallas.
I like that. Dallas has not been a good road team.
Then they finished with 3 out of 4 on the road at LA, home against Pittsburgh, at Minnesota, at Chicago.
I probably stay away from this bet.
You
got a tough path, man.
Yeah, there's a lot going here for a lot of change, right?
Yeah. Probably win about 10 games.
I think they'll have a winning record, but the over-under is 9.5.
Well, Steven is putting it at 10.5.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. You well played, sir.
Yeah. You say, 10 or 11 wins. Okay. Well,
they sit here and you do the thing.
Right.
It's the value of doing the thing, right?
It's the value of doing the thing. Lenny says by 2030, every position in the NFL will have an award all to itself.
No, you're not going to have a long snapper of the year award.
Oh, that was, you went there?
I did go there. Every position.
Okay, but the spirit of what he's saying, though, is like, will we have wide receiver of the year? Will we have linebacker of the year? Will we have safety of the year?
No.
Did the league set some precedent here with the protector of the year? Or is that just it's a way to get some shine on a position?
I really don't think we need to turn the NFL awards into an 8-hour affair every year.
Do you don't think they will? The conversation, you don't think there's a possibility to
No,
enhance those conversations, make them more?
I had
people debating.
This thought had not occurred to me at all until right now.
I know, but then he put this up, and I'm like, I can kind of see this happening.
I think they're too worried.
These tight ends are going to come in here. It's like we're never going to have the offensive player of the year. We're never going to have the MVP.
Tight end you. Like I'm asked tight end you.
They want people to debate this all year long.
Okay, but it doesn't help you to have a subjective award and you throw them all on the same night.
Maybe we'll have
then you
two
need
nights.
to have like a drip campaign, and every month in the offseason, you need to award somebody for what they did last season, all throughout the offseason.
You can't see, Kyle Hamilton and Antoine Winfield getting together and saying, you know what, safeties are underappreciated. We need more shine.
Podcast, and they should do it on a podcast. I'd listen to that podcast.
I think there's a possibility here. What the downside is what? You got more awards to give out? I think the NFL likes attention.
They do. Smart. They got a lot of it.
Sure do. All right, Paul says this: Malik Willis will win a starting quarterback job in 2026 as a good fit for a run-heavy, strong defensive roster.
No.
He'll probably go somewhere where he'll have a chance to compete for a starting job. Right? I mean, we'll see. Firm no from Kyle. Kyle says no. I said maybe. Probably not, though. Tua's burner is back. Did we get clarity on if this is actually Tua's burner?
I'm going to say yes. I think it is Tua's real burner.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Well, we'll see if this take helps you further agree with yourself or not. Tua's burner says New Orleans is a top 2 and not 2 food city in the country. The variety of cultures that have introduced their own authentic cuisine to the city for centuries is unparalleled.
Can I be honest with you?
Of course, we would only want you to be honest with us.
Never been to New Orleans.
I haven't either. But don't you have a feel for the cuisine? There's like New Orleans Cajun restaurants all over the place. You have an idea, right?
I've been to Mobile, Alabama. Some of the cuisine there, and obviously they claim the title of the original home of Mardi Gras, right?
Yeah, they do. They want to let you know about it.
But I fly to Mobile or I fly to Pensacola. I don't fly to New Orleans to get in there. So I don't know that I haven't had authentic New Orleans cuisine to be able to speak intelligently on my opinion on the take.
So obviously, I think everyone's going to have their own personal preferences. I think where you could probably make a strong argument for New Orleans food scene is like, it's definitely the most unique. Unless there's something I'm completely overlooking. I feel like the variety, the seasoning, it's
a cultural melting pot that has allowed it to.
Yeah, I think so. Where it's like, I don't know, what are some other food cultures? Like you have like somebody put a comment. I didn't take the take. It was about how New England has the best food scene because of chowder and lobster. And it's like, that's somewhat unique, but there's not a lot of depth there, What else? What's on the menu? What else is on the menu?
Have a market cornered on chowder. There's 2 different kinds of chowder. What have to specify it's New England clam chowder?
They just said chowder. I mean,
chowder. I got chowder and lobster.
What is the you're in the Mid-Atlantic? It's crab cakes?
And Philly cheesesteaks.
But does that extend? Well, I guess you're sort of.
Cheesesteaks is like, it's the thing here. Yeah.
But not crab cakes?
Maryland, Baltimore.
Right. I said Mid-Atlantic. I don't know.
So,
maybe I really meant Baltimore.
Philadelphia has its own thing, and Baltimore has its own thing.
Okay, but Baltimore doesn't have a claim to cheesesteaks, just like Philly doesn't have a claim to crab cakes. Point being, it's the only thing. There's nothing else.
Right.
Or what do they have? They call it, what's the fries? They call it crab fries or something?
Crab fries.
Where it's basically just Old Bay.
Fries with the Old Bay.
Yeah. But with New Orleans, I think the menu is just so deep. I think they have the best depth. We go like Dallas or like Kansas City or Texas. It's barbecue, or like their own forms of barbecue that are fundamentally different. But like, it's barbecue.
It's a flavor for all foods versus a singular food that is your identifying food item.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to say about the New Orleans food scene, even though I haven't partaked either.
Gumbo,
yeah. Big fan.
Cool, Jado. I don't know.
been a while since Coach O made.
Coach O calling into the show. I know Joe Marino. Just wanted to let you know Joe Burrow's still going to win that Super Bowl.
Thanks, Coach. Thank you, Coach.
Good to hear from you, Coach. Any other takes, or is that it?
I'm good. That's it.
That's it. That's it for us here. End on a high note. Coach Ed Ogeron calling in.
Yep.
Good to hear from him. Kyle Krabs, Joe Marino. Takes in the bag. Division for next week. Did we decide?
We'll go back to the NFC, right?
Right.
What's left? The South and the West?
I guess we're doing the West, huh?
Yeah, we'll do the West, NFC West next week.
So that leaves the San Francisco 49ers as the first team up.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I think you're right. About this.
Cardinals were 8-9. The Rams and Seahawks had winning records last year.
Yeah. 49ers are 6-11. We'll be talking about them on Monday.
Yeah, so 49ers fans come back. Everybody come back. Learn more about the 49ers if you're not a 49ers fan. And if you're a 49ers fan, that's what you have to look forward to on Monday. Kyle Krabs, Joe Marino, we are out of here. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll talk to you all again soon.